In the early 1800s, the central portion of the American continent was still largely unpopulated. The determined pioneers who settled the vast green hills and valleys of the country's heartland had to make do in just about every aspect of their lives. Nowhere was that more apparent than when it came to having children. A doctor within a day's ride was a rarity, and a midwife close by was someone to be treasured. A complicated childbirth was always a matter of life and death. And for this young couple, the complications were severe. The hour was fast approaching when their child would either be delivered or both mother and child were likely to die.
A little while longer. Jeb should be back with the doctor any minute.
I know. I just hope.
Thomas, a poor but honest carpenter, and his wife Nancy had worked hard for years to prepare for their first child. This was to have been a moment both would cherish forever. Now, even though he tried to hide it, Thomas feared the worst. Not only were they on the verge of losing the child, he could lose his precious Nancy as well.
Gone. The doctor is gone. There's a bad accident under Lexington. He won't be back for 2, maybe 3 days.
And what about the midwife, Jeb? Did you find her?
No, sir. She's back east visiting some relatives. What are we gonna do now, sir? There's just no one around to help.
It'll be all right, son. You've done all you could. You go on home. I'll take care of things. The doctor's not going to be able to come, Nancy. And the midwife is nowhere to be found. I guess we'll just have to come through this one alone. We've done that before. We're going to come through this okay. Be all right. All 3 of us.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Promise me something.
Of course.
Promise you'll save our baby, no matter what happens to me.
Don't talk like that. You are not going to die.
You must go on, Thomas. You and our child, no matter what. Promise me, Thomas. Promise.
I will promise you only that I will never let you go. We've worked too hard. We've come through too much together to be separated now.
I love you, Thomas. Always remember that.
Our child will need both of us. I will have it no other way.
my name is Sarah. Sarah Parsons. I'm a midwife. It looks as though I've arrived just in time.
Yes.
Thomas knew everyone for miles around, but he'd never heard of a Sarah Parsons. And yet, this mysterious woman seemed to know exactly what had to be done. Something about Sarah's manner put them both instantly at ease. Even though she was a complete stranger, Nancy had no difficulty putting herself entirely in Sarah's hands.
How is she?
The child is turned in the womb. I'll have to turn it back before I deliver it.
The pain is so bad. I gave up.
Never give up, Nancy, never. This is a lesson you will be able to teach your son.
Is there anything I can do to help?
You are a carpenter?
Yes, I am.
I'd start work on a crib.
Crib? Yes, I will.
Nancy's labor was intense, lasting for most of the night. But the hard work of mother and midwife paid off handsomely with the birth of a healthy 10-pound baby boy. Sarah Parsons had performed a miracle. Nancy's life was preserved and a new baby boy had come into the world. But as Thomas would soon discover, that was only the beginning.
Sarah, please, let us pay you for your services.
Oh, I have no need of money. But there is something you can do for me.
What can I do?
Make sure the child is named Abraham.
Abraham? Abraham?
Thomas, go help her with her bag. She must be very tired.
You're right, I will.
Thomas couldn't just let this mysterious young woman simply walk off by herself. He made up his mind that he would at least walk with Sarah part of the way back to town. But in the few seconds it took Thomas to reach the road, Sarah Parsons had somehow disappeared without a trace. The next morning brought Reverend Scott to the young family's simple home. He admired the new baby and the way Thomas had managed the difficult delivery.
Through the delivery quite well. Yes, thanks to that amazing friend of yours, Sarah Parsons.
Did you say Sarah Parsons?
She was wonderful.
Thomas, Sarah Parsons is dead.
No.
She's been dead for more than a day. Killed in a riding accident.
But she was here just last night. She saved Nancy's life. And my boy Abraham as well.
It has been said that from great hopes come great men. Thomas and Nancy refused to give up hope when all seemed lost, and they brought into this world one of the greatest men the American nation has ever produced. Growing up on the frontier, the boy came to be known as Honest Abe. Against overwhelming odds, he became a lawyer, and in 1847, Nancy Lincoln's son, Abraham, was elected to Congress. 13 years later, in 1860, Abraham Lincoln became the President of the United States. Some say every birth is a miracle, but the birth of Abraham Lincoln was apparently attended by more than just a midwife. Could it be that all of this was not just an accident?